Okay, guys, let's look in our iReady workbook. It says part 3 and 4, words with pictures, and you're going to turn to workbook page 135 and 136. So if we look at page 135, it says practice together, words with pictures, and it says that we're going to be looking at earthworms first, and it says in your book to look at page 23 in the book Earthworms. So we're going to turn to page 23. Here's page 23. See the page number? And it says, by the first pencil in your book, it says, in your workbook, it says, how many worms can moles eat? Now, before we read the page to find the answer, it gives you a hint in the blue box. It says, look at the words. Which word tells a number? All right, so I'm going to read, how many worms can moles eat? That's what we're reading to find out. I'm going to read this page. A mole is an earthworm's greatest enemy. Moles sometimes eat 30 worms a day as they tunnel under the ground. They store extra worms in a special pantry. A mole's pantry full of worms. Look at that and see which word tells a number. And answer that question. How many worms can moles eat? Moles sometimes eat. And read your words. Write your answer. All right, we're going to go on to the second pencil. It says, describe where the mole is in the picture. And it gives a hint. It says, is the mole alone? Let's look at the picture. Is the mole alone? No, he's not alone. It says, describe where the mole is. Well, let's look at the caption. A mole's pantry full of worms. So write down where the mole is. What is he inside of? And what is in there? All right, at the bottom it says to turn and talk. So you can turn and talk to somebody at your house. It says add up the details. How do the words and picture tell about an important idea? Let's think about that. How do these words and picture tell about an important idea? We learned how many worms that moles can eat. And this helped us understand what they do with those worms before they eat them. So do you think they eat all 30 worms at one time? Or does it say that they store the extra worms in a special pantry? So talk about how this helps us understand this idea about how they eat that many worms a day. What do they do with those worms? All right, good job. Let's turn to page 136. And remember, you can pause this video when you need to write your answers down or you need to do your turn and talk. All right, on page 136 in your book, we're going to be talking about butterflies and moths this time. And it says to turn to page 8 and 9. I'm going to turn to page 8 and 9. All right. Beside the first pencil, it says, what do the words tell about types of moths? Now let's look at our hint. Is the number of moths large or small? Let's read and find out. Scientists have discovered more than 170,000 different types of butterflies and moths. They live everywhere there are plants for their caterpillars to eat, from high mountains to dry deserts. So let's think about that. What do the words tell about types of moth? Is the number of moths large or small? And write down your answer. All right, let's go to the second pencil. What does the picture show about one type of moth? Our hint says the caption tells what is in the picture. Remember, we talked about that. So let's look at that picture And let's read the caption so that we can answer the question, what does the picture show about one type of moth? It says there are 10 times as many types of moths as butterflies, and their caterpillars are often beautiful. But you had better not touch this silkworm moth caterpillar from Costa Rica. Those spines will sting. So what does the picture show about this type of moth? What did that caption help tell us was in the picture? You better not touch this silkworm moth caterpillar from Costa Rica. Those spines, see the spines, will sting. All right. And it says add up the details. This is at the bottom on the turn and talk. Add up the details. How do the words and picture tell about an important idea? So think about how many different types of butterflies and moths have been discovered. And did this help us understand that they are different? Like especially this one? Did we understand that there are so many different types? And let's read, we're going to read this and see what else it teaches us. That is where you will find, it says most live in the rainforest where there are thousands of different food plants. That is where you will find the world's largest butterfly, the Queen Alexandra's birdwing of New Guinea. It is also where the biggest moth lives, the Atlas moth of Southeast Asia. Both have a wingspan of almost a foot. Other moths are so tiny that you need a hand lens to see them. And there are weird moths, too. One feeds on the tears of sleeping animals. Another drinks blood. But perhaps the most amazing thing about butterflies and moths is the way they grow up. So we're learning that they are, what? Are they different? Are there a lot of different types, you think? Talk about that and how the page taught us about that. And think of all the different numbers of types that have been discovered. All right. And you are finished with your iReady pages 135 and 136. Go back and make sure that you wrote neatly. When you're writing, if you're writing your answer in a complete sentence, make sure you start with a capital letter and a period. If you're just writing a short answer, remember you don't have to capitalize the first letter or put a period if it's just a short answer and it's not a complete sentence. All right, keep up the good work.